Hello everyone, guys, and today I'm going to be talking about 5th grade zombies. I know this is kind of different from my usual thing. I know I usually do theories and all that stuff, but since I've been doing theories a lot lately, for the last couple of videos, other than, the announcement that this book, 5th grade zombies, actually released, I haven't really done that many things other than theories, so I thought I could kind of take a break off that today and actually do a review for the most recent Goosebumps book ever published, and that is 5th grade zombies. And one thing I really want to note really fast is the cover art is great. I wasn't that big of a fan of the cover art when, it first got published, but I've kind of grown on to it. I really like the zombie in the front. It's kind of got the nose missing. I thought that was really cool to look at, and it was kind of eerie in a way. But yeah, that's pretty much the cover art for 5th grade zombies. But as for the story itself, I was slightly disappointed in. I'm not that big of a fan of zombies and all that stuff, but I must say, all the zombie books in the Goosebumps franchise thus far have been pretty good, like Zombie Halloween and all that stuff. But compared to them, 5th grade zombies is not half as good as them, or not half as, but it's just disappointing compared to the other zombies. In Goosebumps books and all that stuff. But again, it's pretty good, but it has some major flaws. I still would recommend it, but in my personal opinion, it's not as great as it could have been. But pretty much in the story of the 5th grade zombies, our main protagonist, I think his name's Todd, basically is going to spend his summer in this farm town, I guess you could say, with his aunt and uncle, and his 2 cousins, Skipper and I can't remember his other cousin's name. I think her name's Mel. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure that's her name. And so basically Skipper kind of likes to frighten the main protagonist, and Mel's just kind of a nice person, I guess you could say. And anyway, he's staying there because his parents had to go on a business trip and everything like that. And his parents, or not his parents, but his uncle and aunt supposedly own a cornfield. And so the main protagonist starts hearing weird things when he's in that cornfield. And soon he starts hearing weird things in that cornfield that have something to do with zombies without getting into too much spoilers. And so all while this is going on, he keeps hearing these legends about stuff that's going on. And also at school, he sees some weird things. And so it creates this whole mystery that takes up a large sum of the story of him just trying to figure out all the odd stuff that's coming on in this town. And that's pretty much, without getting into too much detail and all that, the story for 5th grade zombies. And first, let's start out with the cons of this story. So the first thing I never really enjoyed about the story is that the mystery takes up so much time in the story. I'm a pretty big fan of some mystery Goosebumps books, like Horror at Camp Jelly Jam or something like that, but I don't know, this one kind of had a disappointing mystery, I guess you could say. I don't know, the mystery just took up so long, and I really just want to see, the zombies do antagonistic things in the story. And while the zombies did appear early on in the story, they weren't that big of a part until almost the very end. I mean, they're still a big part to the plot and all that stuff, but they're not really in there, and they don't really do anything till near the end. The mystery is not all that, exhilarating, like you can't wait to read the next page, because at some points I have it kind of spaced out, and it really doesn't help that the whole mystery is solved at like page 110, and this book has like 130 pages. So you really don't get that much time with the zombies because they appear like 110 and after, really, where you really get to see the zombies do things and all that stuff. And so I do have a slight problem with, the whole mystery part of it taking up so much space and all that stuff. And then the whole evidence for the mystery, like at one part he hears something, and then they kind of space out with a couple of chapters and another weird thing happens. Which is fine, but, I kind of wish it was more, closer together, all this mysterious stuff is going on all at once. He hears this legend at once, or almost directly after this weird thing happens. I think that could have made the book a little bit better, and you could have spent more time with the zombies, and that is just a huge problem I have with this story. It's not gigantic, but I do still have, a little problem with that story, but still, The mystery's okay. You know, it's not absolutely terrible, but it's not that exhilarating either. Like, you can't wait to turn the next page or anything like that. And I have to say, the zombies in this book were a little disappointing. You know, the zombies don't really do that much in the book. I mean, they do get some book time, you know, from 110 pages to 130 pages, but they didn't really go into much detail on what they look like as opposed to some of the other zombie books in Goosebumps. You know, like usually they can get into some detail on like if there's a nose missing or whatever, and from what I remember, they don't go into too much detail on that, which is fine, I guess. But the zombies don't really do anything other than, you know, chase the main protagonist, without getting too much spoilers on that. And also the reason they serve as antagonists is also a little off. And also the whole reason the mystery even works in the first place is also kind of strange, in my personal opinion. I'm not really sure. Maybe you guys can disagree with me, or you do disagree with me, but I don't know, I found it a little strange why the zombies were doing what they're doing and all that stuff. And the whole legend around the origin story to the zombies was, I don't know, a little disappointing. It was kind of like they died. And without, you know, there's obviously a bit more story to it, but pretty much that's what is whole legend with what's going on, the mystery behind it and everything like that. And while there are a lot of cons in this story that I've mentioned, honestly, it's not that bad. I don't know. I'm really sorry if I make it out like this book's terrible by all those cons that I said in the beginning. Oh, one more con I forgot to say, which is the biggest con. I'm really sorry about that, guys. But I have the biggest con of the story, and that is the ending. I'm usually not, you know, I'm not bothered by really bad endings in Goosebumps, like particularly with Slappy World. I'm not usually bothered by it, because usually, you know, the main plot of the story is resolved, and then something crazy happens that you never see coming, and that's the end of the story. But in 5th grade Zombies, the plot never really felt resolved. It felt like near the end of the story, it was in the middle of the plot, finally, you know, the zombies are doing stuff, and then the book just abruptly ends, like out of nowhere, and I did not appreciate that too much. I don't know, I just felt so crazy, and it didn't even make any sense, really, and I don't know, I just really did not like that ending. I mean, it's not as bad as the ending from the last one, Monster Blood is Back, but I don't know, it's pretty bad. I just felt kind of slighted from that and a little ripped off. Not ripped off, but you know what I mean. I just felt very slighted by that ending. I don't know, but, you know, despite all those negative things that I've had to say about the story, it was still a good book. I think I'm just too busy comparing it to other zombie stories and all of that, but it's still good. I mean, there are some really great aspects to this story. The zombies, when they're in there, are pretty good. They do have a few minor issues, but still they're good in the story. It's just have a few nitpicks about them, like they're not described too much and everything like that, but still, they're pretty cool in the story. Kinda wish we had more time with them, but still, they were pretty cool when they were in there. And I like the whole farm setting. It kind of reminded me of A Scarecrow Walks at Midnight. I'm not the biggest fan of that book itself either, but I don't know, I like the whole cornfield aspect to the story. I thought that was pretty cool, and there's a whole lot of interesting stuff going on. Again, I kind of wish the mystery was more well done, but the concepts in here are great, especially involving, well, I can't really do that because I go into spoilers, but there's some really great concepts in this story that are so cool, and I kind of wish I had come up with that beforehand and all of that. But yeah, there are some really great aspects to the story. And honestly, I would say that the Slappy World segments in the story are some of my favorites. So, just in case you don't know what the Slappy World segments are, basically, in the Goosebumps Slappy World series, Slappy's the one who's telling the story. And I really enjoyed the Slappy World segments in 5th grade Zombies. I'm not usually a big fan of them in previous Slappy World stories, mainly because it just features Slappy, you know, bragging about himself, but he actually does something a bit different in these Slappy World segments, and I really liked that. I kind of liked how it was a bit different from the usual, you know, Slappy bragging about himself, and that's honestly some of my favorite, you know, Slappy World introductions that I've read in all of Slappy World. Honestly, those Slappy World segments are the best in the whole series, in my personal opinion. But yeah, that's pretty much 5th grade zombies. And also just want to talk about, I know, I'm sorry if that sounds a little disjointed, but I also want to talk about the next Goosebumps book that's actually releasing, and that is Judy and the Beast. And so they had a 2-chapter segment for Judy and the Beast, and honestly, that one looks pretty great. In those 2 chapters, I was super entertained by the story. I really can't wait for Judy and the Beast. I think it's going to be better than 5th grade zombies, in my personal opinion. I mean, 5th grade zombies was, again, pretty good. Overall, for 5th grade zombies, I would give it a 6 out of 10 or so, 6.5. I mean, it wasn't terrible, but there are some huge negative aspects to this story, in my personal opinion, especially that ending. But other than that, I'm sorry, I kind of got off topic, but Judy and the Beast looks really great. I think it's going to be better than 5th grade zombies again. And while there aren't any monsters in that 2-chapter segments, I have to say I was thoroughly entertained by it. I don't know, some people may not like the main protagonist, Judy. I think that's her name. Oh, yeah, obviously her name's in the title, but you know what I mean. I think that Judy and the Beast is going to be really great, just judging from those 2 chapters that I read. So I can't wait for Judy and the Beast. And overall, 5th grade zombies was pretty good. I would recommend it to you, but just know that I didn't really like it too much, and the ending is pretty bad. But anyway, guys, comment down below what you think about 5th grade zombies if you have read it. I think it released like 2 days ago or so, if you have read it though, comment down below what you thought about the story. Did you really like it, or did you think it was just okay like me, or did you think it was horrible, or do you think it was really great, a really great Goosebumps book, better than Zombie Halloween and all that? Comment down below what you think about this book. And if you haven't read it though, tell me if you're excited about the story, if you're not excited about reading it, or something like that. I don't know, but tell me what you think in the comment section below. But anyway, guys, that's the end of my video, and I hope you enjoy.